I am Professor Manish. Uh, I teach in the analytics department in BBS, and I'm very glad to see the participants wanting to know about the careers, different career options, and what is the road ahead. So Abhishek, Chiransh, Christine, Damini, Firdaus, welcome all of you. Can you guys see the screen that I'm sharing with? Anybody can say yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. I'm not presenting in the F5 mode, not in the full presentation mode, because there is some technical issue with the PowerPoint in my computer, but that's okay. Uh, yeah, I've kind of made it a little as good as the presentation mode. Oh, great. So today we'll discuss what are the various options available in the data analytics career, and even otherwise how data plays a very important role in today's world. Okay, so I want to show you names of certain companies. Some of them you have heard of and some of them you haven't even heard of. So have you heard of Kodak? I'll just take one example. Kodak, Nokia, Osborne, Baumar, and so on. Have you heard of Kodak? Anybody can respond? Kodak photograph, have you heard of that?
Yes, yes.
Right now, um, this company was a extremely famous company. In fact, it still exists today in a small format, providing LED TVs. Now, Kodak was a very famous company. They were a very popular brand. Like when you talked about photograph, when you talked about camera, it meant Kodak. Like when you say photocopy means Xerox. So similarly, photo means Kodak. That was the kind of logic about Kodak. It was founded by George Eastman Kodak, who actually made this company a big company. He invented personal photography, a rare example of an inventor starting a company. Became very famous, and by let's say 1990s, um, very famous on the top of its popularity, top of revenue, top of profit, and so on. This is 1990s. Okay, that means around 25-30 years back. And by 2011, Kodak filed for bankruptcy. That means bankruptcy basically means they were not able to continue their business. They were not able to pay the wages of the employees. They couldn't function as a company. They shut down their shop. What happened that a company as big as Kodak, a company as famous, as successful as Kodak, with a history of more than 130 years, it had to file for bankruptcy. Does anybody know? Can anybody guess what happened? What Kodak was the mistake that Kodak did? Can somebody guess what happened? Why Kodak went down like that? Anybody? I'm just looking at the responses in the chat. Somebody is saying, okay, Chitransh is saying maybe didn't change according to trend. Okay, correct. See what happened, let me tell you. That Kodak was very famous for the non-digital photography, whereas digital photography became very popular. So Fujifilm was the first company to bring the digital camera into existence, and that is what was ignored by Kodak. Kodak thought digital photography will not be a huge challenge to us. That's what Kodak thought, and that was their big mistake. They were late. They finally brought the digital camera, but they were late by around 6 to 7 years, and a small delay of 6 to 7 years proved very fatal to them, because by that time Sony, Fujifilm, and all these other companies, they had achieved great technology for the digital camera. So that is a miss that Kodak had. Nokia, everybody has heard of, everybody knows why Nokia fell down. Other two companies, I will not really talk a lot. What I'm trying to communicate to you is that as a person, as a company, as somebody working in the industry, you have to be accepting the fact that we are living in a world of constant change. And if you do not change, if you do not adapt, if you do not respond to what the environment wants, then survival is difficult. Remember, it is not the strongest that survives. Kodak couldn't survive, they were the strongest. It is the adaptable that survives. So let's look at what's happening, what's the trend that is happening right now around us, which is what I want to emphasize. Do you agree that we are living in a world with exploding data? If you look around yourself, do you agree that every company today, like you talk about something like, a bank, do you think that a bank has a lot of data to deal with? The answer is yes. What kind of data does a bank have to deal with? The bank has customer details. The bank has transaction details. Remember, the transactions happen not just in the branch, but they happen also on the mobile phone app. They happen in the ATM machines. They happen in the net banking, and so on and so forth. The amount of data that a bank will have in a day, I mean, forget in a year, in a day will be a huge amount. Telecom companies, the amount of data that they have. Do you know that when you make one phone call to somebody, the data, the number of individual data points associated with just one phone call that one person makes to another person is more than 50 data points. That means in the IT servers or the data servers of the telecom companies, every one phone call corresponds to 50 plus data items. Like that, imagine how many phone calls are made on the Vodafone infrastructure, on the Geo infrastructure, and how much data these companies have. Do you think e-commerce companies have a lot of data like Amazon, Flipkart? Do they have a lot of data with them? The answer is yes. Do universities, do colleges have a lot of data with them? The answer is yes. Do governments have a lot of data with them? Think about vaccination, for example. The vaccination that is going on in the country. Isn't it that any department that is keeping a tally of the vaccination, don't they have to keep a lot of data with themselves? The idea I'm trying to communicate to you is that 20 years back or 30 years back, we were not having such an explosion of data suddenly. Just to give you some numbers, you can see it on the slide that there are 5.5 billion searches on Google every day. What is 5.5 billion? Can you put it in some understandable number? Because we are born in India, so billion becomes a little difficult to understand. 1 billion is 100 crore. 1 billion is 100 crore. So 5.5 into 100, that's 550 crore searches happen on Google every day. That's too much. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. You might be thinking that, okay, Google is number one in search, Bing might be number two, but remember, Bing is not number two. YouTube is number two because people search for videos on YouTube. On WhatsApp, 54 billion messages are sent per day. That means 5,400 crore messages per day. See, these numbers are crazy. I mean, what's happening because of this? What's happening because of this is that I'll tell you. that there are certain careers which are becoming important. Okay, a shocking fact. What we learn in college in the first year is obsolete by the time we come to the third year. Now, this is talking about something like an engineering college or something like a commerce college where the program runs for 3 years or 4 years and so on. So, the change is happening so fast that the kind of careers that were famous 5 years back or 10 years back, some of them have become obsolete or some of them have become less famous. Okay. So, for example, you can see at the bottom is written there, out of the top 10 jobs, 8 did not exist 5 years back. The hot top 10 jobs that exist today, 8 of them did not exist 5 years back. Now, what I'm trying to communicate to you is that Kodak made a mistake, Nokia made a mistake. You don't make that mistake. What's the mistake that you should not make? Remember that a lot of data is being collected by all kinds of companies across all kinds of sectors. The problem with these companies is that they do not have somebody who knows how to manage that data. See, you have data, but you don't know how to manage it. Now, that's a problem. If you talk about finance, if you talk about marketing, if you talk about operations, IT, these are mature domains. It is very easy to find somebody who has an experience of 20 years or 30 years in sales and marketing. It is very easy to find somebody who has experience of 20 years or 30 years in finance. Same with IT, same with operations. But when it comes to managing data, do you have somebody who has experience of 20 years in managing data? The answer is no. Do you have somebody who has been a data scientist for last 15 years or for last 25 years? The answer is no. So this is presenting a new opportunity for all of you to fill this gap that today every company, just like they have a finance department, marketing, operations, IT, etc., etc., they also have a data department. They also have a business intelligence department. They also have a business analytics department. And the problem is that they don't know how to fill this department with people because people are graduates from marketing, people are experienced in finance, but not from the data side. So there's a big gap, a lot of demand on the analytics side, but very small supply on the very small supply from the skills side. So this gap is what you have to bridge, and that's what presents the careers in data analytics. Any questions till this? Any questions till this point in time? You can put in chat box also. That's okay. So I'm just looking at my logged in from 2 devices. Okay, Mubashir, are you saying yes to questions or are you saying yes? That means clear. Okay, fair enough. Now, um, okay, great. So let's proceed. Now, let me show you that something like the same thing that I've told you. Today, companies have a lot of data, but they don't know how to manage it. You are, if you join a telecom company, the telecom company collects billions of data pieces in a month, but they don't know what to do with it. And there is a new position that is called as CDO. Now you might have heard of some positions like CEO, that's Chief Executive Officer. You may have heard of terms like Chief Marketing Officer, CMO, or CFO, Chief Financial Officer, or CTO, Chief Technical Officer. That's an IT person. So similarly, companies are coming out with what is known as Chief Data Officer, CDO, Chief Data Officer. And who is a Chief Data Officer? You need somebody who is very experienced, and people don't have experience. So maybe you can become a CDO in the next 5 years or the next 10 years time. Okay. Now, what Harvard Business Review has said, you can read that. In the 21st century, it is the most important job. There is another way to communicate for them, but what they mean by that is that most sought after, hottest job of the 21st century is data scientist. Now let's, somebody asked me a question, what is data analytics? Okay, so I will talk about that. Now, just a second. Let me pick up the types of careers first. Okay. Now let me come to the different kind of careers that are possible in the data analytics. Okay. It is concerned with the question that some people are afraid that, okay, if I am not from engineering background, let me look at this slide. If I am not from a science background or engineering background, can I still pursue data analytics? So for that purpose, the first question is, what is data analytics? Can somebody tell me what is data analytics in their own words? Anybody, any participant who wants to tell me? I'm just checking on the phone. So, Chitransh, can you tell me what is data analytics? It's not a definition I'm looking at, it's just an understanding, very broad understanding. Anybody?
Can I say?
Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
So data analytics, I guess, is a collect means if you have a data, raw data, how you will implement that in any decision making kind of.
Correct. Anybody else? That's a good answer. Abhishek? No, it wasn't Abhishek. I think it was. Uh, yeah. Anybody else wants to contribute to that or expand on that? Akash, Anurag, Chirag, Chiranch, Chitranch, Christine. Okay. Now let's talk about data analytics. Remember that. Now let me come to the careers and I'll explain to you what is the meaning of data analytics. Now, the very first career is something that is deal with what will you do with the data that is available to you? What kind of insights can you have with the kind of data that is available? For example, let me tell you, all of you must have used the services of Swiggy, the food delivery company. Now, Swiggy has a lot of data with them. What kind of data Swiggy has? Which customer has placed which all orders from which particular restaurant, which dish, at what time, how much money was paid, what was the delivery time taken, which courier boy gave the delivery, was the rating given, and things like that. And all this data is available city-wise, town-wise, and state-wise. If you are recruited by Swiggy as a data analyst and you are told that it is up to you what you want to do with this data, can you tell me a few things that one can do with so much of data available? I'm not talking about technical analysis. I'm saying if you are a person who has so much data about the customers and the orders that they place from which restaurants and so on, how can Swiggy use it in an intelligent way to make better business or develop insights that will help them make more money? Can anybody tell me any such suggestions? It can
Hello,
be,
sir.
yeah,
Yeah, sir. Swiggy can use the data for to inform the customer about the new offers from that restaurant or new dishes from that restaurant, or maybe as per the customer's choices, it can also share some relevant dishes or uh, yeah, that's about it.
perfect answer, Abhishek. Perfect answer. What you're trying to say is that suppose Swiggy realizes by analyzing the orders placed by a customer that this person likes pizzas a lot because this person has placed order for pizzas 10 times in the last 1 month. So in such a case, if there is a new pizza restaurant, Swiggy will approach that restaurant and say that, look, we have customers who buy pizza a lot, so we can promote your restaurant to them. A wonderful application of data. Rahil, are you trying to say something?
No, sir. Means the question you asked, I was saying that they can provide the recommendations regarding the recent orders. They can give them a slightly higher preference, like a prime customer.
Correct, correct. They
That
can,
that
yeah, they can do something that is known as analysis of customers. And for them, somebody who has placed orders worth, say, 1,000 rupees on an average is a more valuable customer as compared to somebody who has placed 300 rupees on an average. So they can give a priority service like that. Perfect. Perfect.
Sir, I would
Yeah.
like to add something.
Yeah.
Yeah, sir. Swiggy can also provide a combination of two restaurants, maybe combine two dishes from different restaurants and give a combo to a customer.
True. Absolutely. Absolutely. So the point I'm trying to communicate to you is that if you think about how can Swiggy use the data, the applications are unlimited. It's not 100 or 500, it's unlimited, right? And if you understand this, if you can come out with suggestions for Swiggy, you will realize that you don't need to be from an engineering background. You don't need to be from a technical background. You don't need to be from a science or programming background. Anybody with some common sense and some managerial acumen can realize that how can we use this data to improve the business of Swiggy, to improve uh, the different products that Swiggy can launch, and so on. One interesting idea can be something like, you know, Swiggy can identify if an area lacks a restaurant of a particular type. See, for example, let's say that Mexican food, suppose, is becoming very popular in one city, and Swiggy realizes that Mexican food is picking up, but unfortunately, in the other city, in that particular area, a Mexican restaurant is not there. So it presents a very good opportunity for a new restaurant to come up. So Swiggy can sell restaurant ideas like this. Swiggy will say, come to us and we will tell you which restaurant will do the best in this area. And Swiggy can charge a huge amount of money for that consultancy because they have data to support what they're saying, right? If you understand this, You don't need to be an engineering graduate. You don't need to be a programmer to understand this. That is one application of you know uh, data. Another thing I want to communicate to you that data analytics is applicable even inside marketing, even inside HR, even inside finance. Okay, if you are, let's talk about stock market for example. If you are a financial expert in the stock market, how can you use data analytics to analyze stocks? You can do that. You can look at the performance of the companies in the past. You can look at the future of what changes are probably going to happen, and you can predict how the company would do in the future and analyze the stock performance in the future. If you're in marketing, let's say IKEA has set up a new shop. IKEA has entered the Indian market. IKEA is a European furniture making company. So they sell furniture and they have set up their first shop in New Bombay. I have seen that shop earlier before it was opened. It's a very impressive big landscape, big shop they have. So I'm hoping to go there sometime. So IKEA appoints you as their sales data analyst, and they tell you, why don't you analyze for us which are the top customers we should target, how we should brand our product, where, on which channels should we advertise, in which magazine should we advertise. You can use data to suggest this to them. You can look at IKEA's business in other countries, study the kind of customers in those countries, and replicate that model here. You can look at the way IKEA advertised in other countries and replicate that model here. So like that, data becomes a very important parameter across all domains. It is not restricted to only a particular domain. If you're a HR manager, can HR managers take the help of data analytics? Imagine that you're working in a company like TCS. TCS has how many employees? 3 lakh plus. There are more than 3 lakh employees in TCS. So if you're a HR manager and you have to take a decision, a trainer has approached you and that trainer says, I will teach this particular software to your people. I know to choose the people whom you will train. Or somebody comes and says, come and recruit from our college. The HR manager can quickly go to database, look at the past joinees from that particular college, and if the manager sees that from this college in the last 10 years, 50% people have left us within 1 year from this college. They joined and more than 50% left. So HR manager will say, let us not go to this college for recruitment because nobody sticks around from this college. Leave them. On the other hand, there can be another campus from which they recruited a lot of students. 90% of them stayed for more than 1 year. So the manager will say, yes, this is a good college to go with. Are you getting what I'm saying? Such kind of HR analysis can be done across. Are male employees better or are female employees better? Are employees from a particular characteristic better or the other characteristic better? Like that, unlimited number of analysis can be performed even by HR professionals. So remember one thing, that when we talk about data analytics as a domain doesn't exist in isolation, but it is married to the various domains. It doesn't exist in thin air. You have to attach some kind of a managerial outcome to that to achieve what you want to achieve. That's the first kind of a career, that you should know how to use the data. The second career is to do with analysis of data. What is analysis of data? So this is where statistical analysis will be done. This is where mathematical analysis will be done. And if you are from a engineering background, science background, but not necessary, because I have seen many commerce students who are good at number crunching and they like statistics also. So even those people can become good statisticians. So here we talk about statistical models, mathematical models, how to apply different kind of analysis to arrive at the results that we want to achieve. So for example, let us say that you might have heard of these terms like correlation. If a bank is trying to find out, is this customer a good customer, and suppose that customer stays 10 km away from the bank's branch, and suppose your analysis shows that there is a negative correlation between the distance and the chance of getting that customer. That means the farther you are from the branch, the lesser are the chances that you will actually go to the branch. So somebody 10 km away, you will not really enjoy targeting that person. It's a waste of time. But somebody 100 meter away is a much better choice. So like that, um, these are careers to do with analysis. So somebody who enjoys data can enjoy this career. And the last kind of career mentioned there is to do with collection of data, storage of data, and management of data. So these are the database administrator, database programmers, data cleaning experts. So again, this is a little technical, and somebody with a technical background can suit this particular profile a lot. So have you got an idea? Somebody was asking the question at the start, what is data analytics? So have you got an idea of what is data analytics now? Yes, everybody? I can see the chat box. Let me, uh, okay, great. Okay, fine. Now let's proceed to one of the previous slides where I was talking about various software tools. A lot of people have this confusion that should we do a certificate program in Python, should we do in R programming, should we do in Hadoop and SAS and so on. Now the question is, uh, that uh, when you join the college, for example, the college itself will give you training on Python, a training on R programming, a training on Tableau, and so on. So from the college's side, of course, we are doing our bit to give you all kinds of knowledge. But the question still remains in people's mind. Oh, which is the most demanded software? Should I do Python? Should I do R programming? Should I do Hadoop and so on? Now the answer to that is Python, R programming, Hadoop. These are all free softwares. Okay, so a lot of companies in India, if for them cost is an important parameter, if they don't want to spend money on softwares, they would prefer something like a Python or R programming or Hadoop. Okay, so depending on the company that you're going to join, the company may have a very specific requirement that when they float the job on their portal, they would say that we want somebody who is a Hadoop programmer, or we want somebody who is a Python programmer, and so on. SAS and Tableau are proprietary softwares. They are not free. So you have to pay money. Some companies use SaaS, some companies use Tableau. So let me tell you that in 2 years from now, I mean, right now, Python is very much in demand, but that doesn't mean that other softwares are useless. It doesn't mean that. Uh, for example, big companies like MNCs, let's take the case of Procter and Gamble, or let's take the case of Colgate Palmolive. They would be using multiple softwares depending on their needs. For example, as far as visualization is concerned, Tableau is a very good software. As far as analytics is concerned, SAS and Python and R programming are good softwares. When a company comes to campus for recruitment, the company is confident that they can train you in anything that they wish to. So they basically look for your business acumen or your aptitude towards data. So for example, in the interviews, they would ask you a question like, say something like, okay, suppose you are in this particular situation. They will give you a hypothetical situation. They will say that you are in the city of Mumbai, and how will you estimate the number of people who have got vaccinated till now? They will give you a situation like that. Or in the start, I gave you the situation of Swiggy, or I gave you the situation of a bank. Like that, they will give you a situation and they will ask you that how will you use data analytics to answer this question. They will seek that what kind of thinking you have. Are you somebody who is able to think in a particular direction? Remember that there is no right answer or there is no wrong answer to such scenario based questions, but they will basically be looking at your aptitude. A few questions they will ask you related to very basic statistical stuff. For example, they will ask you what is correlation? They will ask you what is standard deviation? So don't worry about that, because basic statistics is something that everybody is taught in the college and everybody is supposed to know. So that's not a big deal. And eventually, once they are satisfied that you are somebody who likes data, you're somebody who can think in a data way, how to use the data and things like that, then they realize that you can be trained on any particular software that you want to get trained for. Very, in very few cases, a company will actually come with a very dedicated requirement saying that we want a Python programmer only. So in that case, you will have to be a Python programmer to get that job. Whereas in most other cases, you may be a R programmer, but if the company is convinced that you seem to have a good aptitude, so learning Python will not be a problem for you, so they will recruit you and they will give you a Python job, and you can get trained in 3 months time. So that's the kind of data analytics that we are talking about. So Nilesh, can we tell them to start answering us, asking questions, or how is it now? Ketal?
Yes, sir, we can ask. We can.
Yeah, okay. So participants, have given you a broad idea about data analytics and how it can be used to, apply in different domains. So are there any specific questions that you want to ask? You can be as, don't worry about the question being too silly or too basic.
Hello,
Abhishek?
sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, sir, as you said, data analytics or business analytics can be combined with some other management specialization in order to have some management skills in the candidate. So basically, which combination would be a great combination to go for? marketing plus data analytics or operations plus data analytics?
That's a very good question. What is your background, Abhishek?
Sir, I have completed my BSc IT.
Okay, okay. So to answer this question, let me tell you that you have to look at even your own interest. For example, if you look at operations analytics, you will find a job in Amazon. Why? Because Amazon is into delivery. You will find a job into Uber. Why Uber? Because Uber is all about you know, arranging cabs for people from different locations based on a certain logic. So operations analytics will get you a job into logistics oriented companies or production manufacturing kind of companies. So Asian Paints, Amazon, these kind of companies. If that excites you, you can do operations plus analytics. If you're a finance guy, if you think finance is for me, you can join a broking firm, you can join a bank, you can join a mutual fund company to apply analytics in that particular domain. What I'm trying to communicate to you is that all specializations, whether it is marketing plus analytics, whether it is finance analytics, whether it is operations analytics, all these three have a job there out there. Eventually, it boils down to what you like as a person. A lot of people, they come with, you know, uh, a liking for marketing and sales. So for them, sales analytics is the best domain. So don't worry about whether I will get a job or not. I would say marketing analytics has relatively more number of jobs, relatively more as compared to operations or finance. Because market research is actually an existing field and you will find a ready-made placement there if getting a job is your question. But otherwise, you should choose what you like, and I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, sir. I got it.
Yes,
Hello, sir.
yes.
So basically, I have a few more questions regarding that only.
Mhm.
Sir, business analytics is a different specialization.
Hmm.
How we can combine, means the marketing or the finance with that?
That's a good question. Rahil, right?
Yeah, sir.
Okay. See, uh, when you finally graduate from the college, you can get a business analytics specialization. That means when you pass out, you are not a finance guy or you are not a marketing guy, you are a analytics person. That's one choice that you have. So how to achieve that? To achieve that, in the first trimester, everybody has a common subject, and later on you have to choose. So you can first take a, savor all the different subjects, and then you can choose analytics if you think that's for you. So you can become a dedicated analytics person, or if you want that, oh no, I am sure that I want to do finance, but at the same time I don't want to lose on the analytics domain. So you take finance as your specialization, but you do a lot of financial analytics courses, or you do a lot of analytics courses as an option. So when a company comes for recruitment, you are basically a finance graduate, but a financial analytics graduate. So you have a choice. You can become a dedicated analytics specialist, or you can become a finance specialist with a few courses in analytics to show it to the company that I'm not just a finance graduate, but I'm also having an expertise in analytics domain.
Okay, so means basically when you get into the college, the mindset opens there, na? Means which field you have to go with.
Yes. The
Okay,
mindset.
and basically I am from commerce background. I did my BCom
Ah,
recently.
hmm.
So can you provide me some suggestions because I have an interest in business analytics.
Okay. Okay. Now remember that uh, you have to ask a question to yourself that I showed you the careers that are there, right? And I
Yeah.
told you that the first career out of that, which was about understanding how data can be applied. And to get that, you don't need to be a technical background. You can be a non-technical background person. So I would say that when you join the college, in the first trimester, you will have a marketing course, you will have a finance course, you will have operations course, and you will also have a analytics course. Take your time to decide that is analytics something that I'm liking. You will have a course something called as business statistics. If you enjoy that, if you think yes, I'm able to grasp this, I can do more in this, then you can choose it. Okay, there is no rule that says that commerce graduates cannot become data scientists. They can become data scientists. For example, when IT industry was booming 30 years back, even arts graduates, I mean, typically is supposed to be a enemy of programming, but even arts graduates who did a 3 month course, a 6 month course, they were recruited by the IT firms. And today, I mean, the people who joined 30 years back, today if you look at them, they made the right decision and they have become millionaires or billionaires also, right? So I would suggest that right now is a situation where the demand is very high, the supply is very less, and nothing will stop you just because your commerce. Nothing will stop you if you're able to demonstrate in the 2 years that I have taken analytics courses and I have got a good score on them, and you impress them in the interviews. You do some certifications also side by side, do internship in a data company, then there is no need to worry.
Okay. And what is the kind of progress if you get a job as a business analytics? So what kind of progress is there? Means if you do a marketing course, first you become an executive, the position increases by the time you spend, the hard
Correct,
work you do. So
correct.
in business analytics, is there a same type of progress or you get to stuck at one point?
See, the thing is that data analytics or business analytics is not yet a mature domain. Okay, so in all other domains, you know what are the levels. Like in sales, for example, I joined a sales domain in the start of my career. I joined as a salesperson. So for me, a relationship manager was the first position. Then there was senior relationship manager, then area manager, then assistant vice president, and then vice president. I knew the complete hierarchy. It happens in a sales domain because it's a mature domain that is happening since the last 30 years. But if you ask the company who is recruiting you that where will I be 5 years from now if I join you, what will be my position, they will not be able to tell you the answer because they don't have a track record of that. It's a new domain that they have created. But having said that, it doesn't mean that your future is uncertain. That means it's risky. Your future is uncertain in the form that nobody knows a very clear path on which will trade. But one thing is for sure that your salary will increase and your responsibility will increase. For example, if you look at the job portals, you will see that somebody with 5 years experience in Python can get a job of around 12 lakhs, 14 lakhs, and so on. It's happening, and companies are willing to pay that much. So the companies themselves, they will not be able to tell you the career path because they don't have those labels in place right now. They don't have anybody with 10 years of experience in data analytics. Or when you join the job, sometimes it happens sometimes that the company doesn't even know what kind of data that they want to give you. It's more of an exploration for the company also and for you also. But that's a risk, that's an opportunity also.
So if, as you said, if you pursue an business analytics and we did a specialization in some other, means we are open to more than one field. Means basically you have knowledge of both fields. So
Yes.
is that sufficient to be secure?
See, why I said both. If if you are 100% sure that you like analytics to the core, you can take analytics as a special domain. You don't need to do finance plus analytics or marketing plus analytics. You can be a specialized analytics person. But suppose you're confused that before this you thought finance is my domain, but you thought, okay, I'm liking analytics also. So to be on the safe side, you can do financial analytics. So that will keep you open for finance jobs also and analytics jobs also. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Because sir, that's what you said. I was basically, I loved finance first because I am basically from an accounts background. I love to trade with that numbers. So now I'm basically again, means, as you said, I love finance also, and now I'm getting interested in data analytics too.
Correct.
So that's what I was confused.
So see, a career is a very, very long thing. Okay. And there's nothing like a wrong choice that you cannot correct later on. Like there are a lot of people in the IT industry who are from a non-programming background, like they are from commerce background or arts background, and they just did a good certification and they got into IT company. So the same thing can happen later on in your career. It's not that doors are closed because you did a graduation in this, doors are closed. You can always do some certification and show that you are cut for the job, you're ready for the job. So you can do analytics as a specialized domain, or you can do finance plus analytics as a domain. Worst case scenario, suppose you take only finance and later on you realize that, oh, I should have taken analytics, but now the time is gone. You can still do a certification in Hadoop or Python later on and apply for analytics job from one even after you are graduated. So see, career is a pretty big thing, and the companies look at your seriousness, and opportunities are there available abundantly. I told you the worst case scenario.
Okay, sir. Thank you. And sir, as you said, softwares, SQL is what kind of that?
SQL is called structured query language. It is a language that is used for managing database.
So is there any need to do a course in SQL?
If it is required, it is not required by most analytics softwares, but if you require it later, you can always do it. You can always do it, but not it's not a stringent requirement. It's not a compulsory requirement for any analytics program.
Because as I came to know about business analytics, I made a research of what the programs are. I came to know about Python, R programming, and Tableau. And something there was about SQL. So I thought, what is that?
SQL, as I told you, some careers, those careers have to do with the management of data. So those careers will require SQL, but
Okay,
not
sir.
analytics. Like if you're storing the data somewhere and you want to retrieve that data, if somebody tells you that why don't you get me all the customers whose name includes MAN, so you can run a SQL query to get the data for that. So SQL is a requirement for database.
Okay, means basically, sir, it is a part of a small part of data analytics.
it is a small part, but it can become a dedicated part. If you are applying for a career as a database administrator in an analytics company, then it can become a primary language for you.
Okay.